For those of you who don't know this game, this game was released, I think, in 2000 or 2001 for Sega Dreamcast, and I actually preferred it over NBA Jam. And it didn't have the Jordan license. Obviously, he was out of the league at that time too. He came in. He came back with the Wizards in 01-02. So I don't think he would have been in this game anyway. I'll check though. I don't think he's... Yeah, exactly. So I think this was released in 2000 or 2001. Let's see here. I'll use Philadelphia. And it automatically matches me up against somebody. Let's see here. I'll go there in McKee. If you remember this game, say so in the live chat. A lot of people don't remember this game, and it is one of the better 2-on-2 full court games. Players are unrealistically jacked. And it's been a long time since I played this game, so I'm not even 100% sure that... I'm not sure how the heating up works, if it's like Jam. And I'm obviously rusty playing it. Whoops, wrong. So I see I have a few people on here. Do any of you guys remember playing this game or seeing this game? You guys have probably seen that they came out with a NBA Playgrounds, and 2K actually bought the rights to it. So NBA Playgrounds 2 is going to be being released for the PC, and I believe also the consoles. And this is kind of along the same presence. This game has accurate faces for the most part, even back for NBA for the year like 2000. So we got one guy saying he's never played this before, and another guy said he hasn't, and he started playing video games 2K12. 2K12's a good game to start with. A lot of people I've noticed started playing 2K around 2K11, especially because it was kind of groundbreaking, and one of the... Some people still say 2K11 is the best game in the series. But I'd be curious... what you guys actually think of this game, and if it's a game that you probably would have played, or do you think that these arcade games like NBA Playgrounds, which just came out, and NBA Jam and whatnot, if you guys think that these games have kind of run their course. A lot of people, and you guys, if you've started in 2K12, that means you probably didn't play NBA Street or NBA Ballers or any of those games. These arcade games were huge when I was growing up. And again, I've stated this before, I think this is actually one of the better ones. Also, overall, curious how the video feed is actually coming out. I don't use XSplit Broadcaster usually, and I'm using that this time because it works better with this emulator. So if you guys think the video quality is acceptable, I'll continue to use this when I play Dreamcast games for broadcasting, or if I do like highlights or anything like that. Okay, quality's good. Alright, thanks. Alright, you said your 20 games life cycle was in process when I was too young. I'm more of a sim head. Yeah, I'm absolutely more of a sim head. You probably noticed that if you've seen like my channel and my videos and whatnot. Even if it's like putting in like classic teams and whatnot, I try to make them sim, and I try to make the rosters sim and the sim stat sim. But I think these games, especially, you know, for me, were a part of early basketball gaming. A lot of you guys won't remember, and I'd suggest looking them up. You guys probably don't remember games like Arch Rivals, Barkley Shut Up and Jam, and games that are basically, you know, revolutionary for this genre. But for fun against each other, against, you know, human versus human gameplay, these games are a blast. Or even playing on the same team, these games are a lot of fun, and they're actually challenging too, if they have like some sort of a career mode or somewhere where you can create your initials and keep track of your stats and all of that stuff. So I'm lighting it up with Iverson. I don't know what that whistle was. Oh yeah, they actually call fouls in this game. I forgot about that. And I don't remember if there's free throws because it's been a very long time. No, I don't think 2K, Lorenzo, no, I don't think 2K is going to add new classic teams for 2K19. They seem to do this now where there's like a couple-year cycle in between. They added new classic teams, I believe it was in 2K16 with, you know, the 03-04 Timberwolves, the newer teams that were above the year 2001 that were introduced into the game, like the 11-12 Heat and those teams. But they the problem is that if they keep giving it all away and keep adding teams every single year, they're going to not have new features to show off in like future games, and they're going to run out of that content. So it looks like they're going to be adding teams every 2 to 3 years. It seems like they add new teams. But you guys will probably agree that some of the new team choices were kind of crap. Like I don't mind the Grizzlies, by the way. I don't have any problem with the Memphis Grizzlies, but the teams that they added, adding 2 different Grizzlies teams, adding the 03-04 Lakers instead of, you know, 09-10 or 08-09. A lot of their choices are really questionable, and I just don't understand. I don't know if it's a licensing thing, but it's interesting. It's interesting which teams they add, and like I said, I don't really approve of it overall. Let's see. Easy Man says, we'll say human versus human. These are games. Yeah. So human versus human, and human buzzer. human versus human and human versus human and human on the same team as human is these games are actually a lot of fun. I just realized there's a turbo button, I think, in this game. Yeah, Barkley should be in the game. I know you said you need Barkley. Barkley won't be in the game unless they decide to donate, unless 2K decides to donate to the Retired Player Association. So the problem with that is 2K is being cheap, and maybe we don't know all of the ins and outs of it, but with the amount of money that they make on game sales and marketing and the amount they make on that the virtual currency grab that you guys all hate. And actually, see, this game is pretty cool. The halftime is nice, and they do a complete breakdown of stats. But Barkley, for whatever reason, 2K won't donate to the Retired Players Association. So for you guys who want more retro content and who want Charles Barkley and possibly Reggie Miller and some other missing legends, we're probably not going to get them unless 2K sucks it up and actually donates. I'm going to put Theo Ratliff in here. And that sucks. It sucks for us. And as far as what's interesting is I play on the PC version of for 2K, and we have the ability to mod, and in the hidden files, but the game files that aren't released in the actual game, the entire 92-93 Phoenix Suns team is in there. Which is why I was able to get them completely accurate in my classic teams roster. So I think, and Barkley's in there as well. I think that what happens is, I think that Barkley, I think they have these faces ready to put in the game. I think their plan is to get these guys on board, and for some reason something falls through, and they keep the faces ready and in the files. In case they got the guys say yes. If you guys remember, I think it might have been 2K13, maybe 2K14. Julius Erving was a late addition to the game, and so was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And that was because, and actually, I think it was 2K14 for the PC, but was a late addition to the to the game because they had to get contract negotiations figured out. So sometimes that happens, and I think that's why sometimes these guys' faces and whatnot, and the art files for the team and all that are in the game files. I'm not sure what you're saying in 2K17. Easy. I mean Lorenzo. So if you could clarify, Lorenzo, I'm not sure what you're talking about in 2K17. I'm not sure where we were at in the conversation. Another cool thing about this game, different than NBA Jam, is you can set your quarter length to like 10 minutes a quarter. So you can play longer games. So not only are the graphics better than Jam, especially at this stage, this is like the year 2000, but the customization is better. Yeah, Barkley's face was in 2K17's files. If you look at my video, my videos on my channel, you'll see some Phoenix Suns. You'll see some 92-93 Phoenix Suns highlight videos. Yes, good call. Yeah, this game is absolutely a Midway game, and if you remember how popular, if you've read up on how popular NFL Blitz was, you kind of see why this game actually moves really well, and the animations are good and the graphics are good, because I think NFL Blitz was actually ahead of its time as far as how it played, moved, the gameplay. That was actually a sweet. Can I do replays? Oh, that's too bad. That was a nice dunk by Malone, and he's also kicking my ass. So yeah, no, I agree. As far as like, it feels like a Blitz game, but they incorporated it well into the NBA aspect of it. So if you're a fan of Blitz, or if you've played Blitz, I recommend playing this game. Yeah, Blitz 2000 was really good. But yeah, this game is, I'm playing this. I own the actual physical copy of NBA 2K. I own most of them. But this game itself, I mean the NBA Showtime and NBA 2K original copy. Originally I was doing a video on the original 2K, but the volume wasn't working well. You guys probably saw that. But this is on the Dreamcast emulator for the computer. This is for the emulator null DC, so you can actually see I'm viewing the game in complete 1080p at 60 FPS. Oh, you can't. So Malone is on fire. So I haven't played this game in a long time, so I wasn't sure if you caught on fire the same way as Jam. But I gotta stop this, or I'm gonna lose the game. Actually, I gotta score here. Oh, I should. So is this game the one where you can't? So goaltending doesn't stop fire. So they're still on fire when goaltending happens in this game. So I have to do a clean score. And see, they keep goaltending it because the computer's smart. The AI is smart enough in this game to know. Yeah, I gotta go in for a dunk, or I'm gonna get my butt kicked in this game. There you go, dunk it. No. Come on. That's why Ratliff's in there to swat shots. Ah, shoot. So, one more question about the video quality. And this, again, I'm using, for those who just joined, I'm using XSplit Broadcaster, and I've never used this for this emulator. Is the video pretty smooth? I can't believe I just hit that. Oh, see, I like this because ever since I put Ratliff in the game, I'm getting a ton of blocks, and when I had Aaron McKee in there, I wasn't getting really any, so that is kind of neat, especially for an arcade game. That's a foul. Okay, cool, thanks. Yeah, any questions you guys want to ask, or any like subjects you want to talk about, I'm good as far as this. I might play this for a little bit longer. If I had to go with some of my favorite arcade games for NBA, I'd say that this is actually near the top. There was also an NBA Jam that was released. I think it was for PlayStation 2, and I don't know if you guys remember this one, but if you could help me out with the name, that would be good. It was a version of NBA Jam that that had a lot of retro content, but when you played against classic teams, like let's say you played in the 60s against, Bill Russell, it would be played in black and white, or they'd have like filters for the classic teams, and the gameplay and presentation was absolutely amazing in that game. And I want to say it was for PlayStation 2. And I can't remember what the name of the NBA Jam was, but that's absolutely one of my favorite. All right, let's see how clutch I can be here in the last 1:10 and see if I can win this game. Malone out here dribbling like Harden. Don't miss that. That's it. I can't believe you missed that. All right, I gotta get a stop here. That might have been it. Yeah, that sucks. Hit that. Yeah, not enough time. A loss by 1, whatever. NBA Street and NBA Street Volume 2. Street Volume 2 specifically is probably one of the best arcade basketball games ever. And I played that. You wouldn't believe how much I played that game. So there you go. So you guys can see this presentation. It's fully NBA on NBC. This is, as somebody else pointed out, this game is made by Midway. So I don't know what happened to somebody just said what happened to Midway. I'm not 100% sure what happened to Midway, but if you remember, they put out quite a few games, quite a few good ones. One of them being, and you guys can look this up, but this is kind of fun fact for you. Oh, this game also has trivia, which is cool. What Orlando Magic player took a record 12 three-pointers in a 95 game? Oh, no, it was Nick Anderson. Shit. I knew it was Nick Anderson. I just said it's Dennis. Anyway, so yeah, this game has trivia at the end of games and whatnot too. But I don't know what happened to Midway. They had a game, and this is also made. It's called NBA Fast Break '98. So I want you guys to look that up when you get the chance. It was made by Midway as NBA Fast Break '98, and then they also released a different version of it called NBA Action '98. And NBA Action '98 was made by Visual Concepts, the same people who make NBA 2K. Both games were exactly the same, but they'd had different developers. So, and yeah, Nick the Brick with the free throws. Yeah, I know. What a choke job. I don't think Orlando. The problem is when Nick Anderson choked like that, it was in Game 1, I believe, of the series, and Orlando could have had momentum. And when Nick Anderson missed those free throws, he blew it. What's sad is he was a good player. He averaged 19.9 or whatever. He was a good scorer and whatnot, but he'll always be remembered for those missed free throws. Anyway, so NBA Fast Break '98, which I actually might do if you guys are interested at some point. I might do a broadcast on that game because I do have it, like a stream. But NBA Fast Break '98 was the first, let's say, Visual Concepts Midway game that I ever played, and for its time, the graphics actually blew me away. It was based on, I believe, the 96-97 season, and it had Grant Hill on the same team as Jerry Stackhouse and whatnot. Alright, so we have some facts coming in from Lorenzo. In February 2009, Midway Games filed in Delaware for bankruptcy. Warner Brothers purchased most of so there you go. So yeah, Midway's probably most known for Mortal Kombat, which is a good point. So that's what happened to Midway. I always wonder what happened to a company like 989 Sports. You guys probably remember that. I think they did the NBA Shootout games. Actually, I'm going to go into another game if you guys want to stick around with me. But NBA Shootout was back when the basketball gaming market was more saturated. So right now we only have NBA 2K and NBA Live, and then a couple like fringe, arcade games like Playgrounds and whatnot. But back when we had more competition in the gaming market, we had the NBA Shootout games, we had NBA in the Zone, we had an Easy Madden. I'm not sure if 989 Sports is known as San Diego Studios. I owned quite a few 989 Sports basketball games when I was younger, including games like, I believe, NCAA Final Four '99, which had Paul Pierce on the cover when he was with Kansas. But those companies, I think the last game 989 Sports made, and I think they were still under 989 Sports, was they made, it had The Life in it. It was an NBA game in 2009. You guys might remember that one. NBA. It was called NBA 09, and it was for Xbox 360, and it didn't sell very well. Let me choose a team here so we can move forward. Let me see. We'll do Cleveland Kemp. I could do that. Yeah, called NBA 09, exactly. That game was, I think, the last basketball game that they released. Houston has Pippen, Barkley, and Olajuwon, which they underachieved. I'm going to use these guys. So Barkley was still in the league here, so if you guys want to see Barkley in a video game, here you go. He's in this arcade game, NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC. So here's Barkley, and I'm going to put him on the court. And I'll put him with, to start, I'll put him with Pippen, and then I'll later on I'll put him with Olajuwon, so you guys can see that. But one cool thing about this game is you'll see like the player likenesses, even back for a game that was released in like 99 or 2000. You'll see the faces look a lot like the real-life counterparts. But yeah, NBA 09, I never actually played it. I just know that that was the last game, and I've watched gameplay video. That was the last game by 989 Sports. But back when the video game market was more saturated, I feel like there was more competition, and they tried to make the games better. And no, I didn't know that. So, hey, MLB The Show is a really good game from what I can gather. So, it'd be nice if they jump back into the basketball, the basketball video game making department. But I miss when there was more titles for us to choose from. The competition was a lot cleaner as far as they were making cleaner games and trying. I can't believe Pippen just missed that. They were trying to compete with each other, but now the competition is just down to 2 companies, and hopefully Live 19 makes a huge splash this year, so it makes 2K up their game. And it looks like, from everything that I'm seeing, Live is making a lot of improvements, and people are warming up to the fact of actually purchasing those games. I mean, the NBA Live. Some people saying they'll purchase Live over 2K, so that's kind of we'll see if they actually do it. But that's the competition in this genre in basketball gaming is extremely important. Yeah, well, they're all. Somebody just said Barkley is so jacked. Barkley, they're all extremely jacked. I'm gonna try to get Barkley on fire though, which I should have just passed it to him because I didn't get anybody on fire last game. The mechanics in this game are great, and it's probably one of the most reactive games that I've played. There's no input lag. You push a button, it immediately happens. The gameplay's really good. So for you guys who like arcade games and have never seen this game, I absolutely recommend getting this game. And I think I'm going to get on fire here in a second. One more basket, if I can stop him. But these games aren't supposed to be realistic, so I don't mind like the jacked body types and stuff. So I should be on fire here. There we go. All right, let's see how long I can keep it. You can get away with fouls when you're on fire too. You can just push them. And of course, Barkley's going to light it up from 3 as long as I'm on fire, and I blew it. Oh, that sucks. So again, I see more people have come on. If you haven't seen this game, this is NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC for the Sega Dreamcast. This came out in, I believe, somebody could probably verify this for me. I think this came out in either 1999 or the year 2000. And the reason I think that as well is because Barkley, Olajuwon, and Pippen are on the Rockets. But this game has aged incredibly well. And for those people who are familiar with NBA Playgrounds or NBA Playgrounds 2, this game, in my opinion, because I've dabbled in that game a little bit, this game, in my opinion, actually has more fun gameplay. I really enjoy this game. I actually enjoy this game more than NBA Jam. Yeah, so 1999. So if you guys... There's no denying that this game ages well, and the fact that it still looks pretty good for a game that's about 20 years old. pretty cool. So somebody said that NBA 2K12 was their first. So NBA 2K12 was their first game, and like I said, a lot of people for them it's NBA 2K11. What are there's more people in the chat. So what are your first games? You guys don't want to hear mine because it's going to make me sound super old. I will say my first 2K game was NBA, the original 2K. I had that right when it was released. Russell West Beast 2K13. You got to admit that game has aged super well. The gameplay is awesome in 2K13. That's one of my favorite games, and I have it for the PC. So obviously I have like the URB installed, all the roster mods and whatnot. Nehem, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Nehema. You said you got it for $19.99. Was it released for $19.99? Because I don't remember that. I know that NFL 2K dropped their price to their game to $20, and that made them wicked popular. But yeah, no, Iverson was on the cover for a while, and then they disrespected him with horrible cyber faces for like 2K 16 and 15 and whatnot. But the NBA 2K13 was some of the best. It had a blocking issue where it was hard to get blocks, and offense was a little bit dominant, but the gameplay still holds up so well today. And I actually enjoy the gameplay on NBA 2K13 tenfold over, NBA 2K18. Easy Madden, you said 2K5 on PS2. Pretty sure that was actually, didn't they call that ESPN 2K5? Because what they did, and they did it for the NFL game too, they had the NFL license at that point. So they called it, Christ, don't you wish the 2Ks were $19, $20 now? But yeah, they had the ESPN rights, and they tried to do that. It also makes you wonder. I know ESPN makes so much money, but makes you wonder if ESPN wishes they were back integrated with 2K. When NBA 2K5 came out, ESPN 2K5, Live was still the most popular game. As far as when that changed, I think it was NBA 2K9 or 10 is when 2K actually officially took over as the most popular basketball game. That was actually a clean block. But yeah, so, which is cool, you guys. There's different people in the chat. We got people that have, 2K12 and 2K13 as their first 2K games. And then we have people at the original 2K. We have 2K5. So I have it set up here where I can switch games. I don't have a lot of I have the original 2K, and I have 2K1 and 2K2 on here, but the volume doesn't work well, or doesn't work at all on the games. The graphics are perfect. I don't know if you guys would like to see those games. So if I put those games on, if you'd be interested without it having volume like this one. This game is more fun, in my opinion, overall than the original 2K, at least at this point, especially with it having volume. But I was up by 7 in this game, and now I'm losing. Nierma says 2K5 had those awesome park courts you could do in Egypt. What's funny is I actually don't remember that. I don't remember those park courts. When I play basketball games, I usually restrict my play to offline play. I play my league. I play the real NBA teams, or I'll do like a fantasy draft. But I'll play on regular NBA courts and whatnot. Because that's what I grew up loving, so I do the same thing in video games. So I don't remember that. What I do remember about ESPN 2K5, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I remember this, but the computer, the AI on the hardest level was absolutely ridiculously hard. I remember them shooting like 70% from the floor, and if you made any mistakes, so you laid off your guy for 1 second, you were basically you were basically screwed, and you could get blown out. Another game that was extremely hard was NBA in the Zone 99. I probably aged myself a little bit, but I believe it had Glenn Rice on the cover. Glenn Rice was with the Lakers at the time. And that game, the AI was ridiculously hard. 2K18, I thought the AI was incredibly easy and silly because it seemed completely scripted. Hey, what's up, Hunter? The AI was incredibly scripted, and all they did was run plays. So you could, lay off the ball handler, even if he was a sharpshooter from the top of the key, and he wouldn't shoot it because all he's doing is just waiting for, everybody to, run around the court and get open and run the designated play. I played against the Jazz on 2K18 using the Knicks, and I held them to like 3 for 22 to start the game on the hardest level, and it was just basically all they did was run plays. They didn't take the right open shot or anything like that. It was ridiculous. I'm keeping Barkley up there just for nostalgia reasons. So this is the last day, actually, for my work vacation, so this may be the last live stream I can do for a little bit, just because time's a little bit tough. The AI seems harder after downloading my roster. It's possible. You're using some of the best teams in NBA history, and I really made it a point to make the ratings, attributes, tendencies accurate. If you guys notice that in the default roster for NBA 2K video games recently, for the NBA 2K games recently, there's a lot of mistakes. The tendencies are off. Signatures are off, etc. They're not exactly realistic, especially for the classic teams. The now teams get the attention, and then the classic teams are just kind of there for show. So you guys will probably agree that a lot of custom rosters from regular people who know how to make rosters really well, they play more realistic, and the computer plays more realistic, etc. So yeah, the game is probably harder when you downloaded my roster, because I paid extra attention to all the tendencies, ratings, etc. I think 2K needs to implement a real-time physics engine for player. Yes, one of the problems with 2K, and you guys will know this, and this is probably part of what you're alluding to. The clipping in the game is ridiculous, and you can literally go through players in the post. You can go through... that was nice. You can... you can run through players. The body dislodges the ball on dunks, or just even at half court if you're pressuring a guy. The physics are not realistic. Not sure why I'm shooting threes with Elijah on, but the physics are absolutely they need work, and it also goes along with the defense and the new motion system, where you can just run by anybody at any time, where all you got to do is push forward on the joystick and you can just get to the hoop. So yeah. Somebody said D for 3, how long will MJ be with 2K? Because EA Sports players want to see him. Yeah. So it's not just EA Sports players. I just want to, and by the way, I know you're not implying that, but I don't like the whole fanboy. They exist. I know fanboys exist. They're unbelievable, and I have to deal with them on Twitter all the time. But I think that having Jordan and Kobe in live, and Barkley and stuff like that, or in both games, is good for everybody, whether they play EA Sports NBA Live or not. It will generate interest towards the games, more interest towards the games, and I think it's just good overall. This game's a little bit more realistic, by the way, than NBA Jam. If you're trying to shoot threes with Olajuwon, you're going to miss him. But Jordan's contract with 2K, I don't think anybody's ever known what that exactly is, other than like insiders. I've tried to look up to see how long his contract runs. If any of you guys can find that, bonus points for you, because I can't. But I'm trying to see how long his exclusive contract is, and I tried to find the same thing with Kobe, and I can't find it. But I'm guessing Kobe also signed an exclusive contract with 2K. My problem with athletes doing that is, depending on how they sign it and how many years it's for, how do they know that another more popular or another game that they'd like to be in doesn't come out and that they want to be in it? They completely restrict themselves. I mean, it's Michael friggin' Jordan, so I'm sure that if he wanted to, if he wanted to say, yes, I'll be in NBA Live, I'm sure there's something in his contract that says that he could. Somebody said, definitely speaking of posts, they need to do new animations. Yeah, the post game in NBA 2K has gotten kind of stale. And that was clutch, that shot that I just made. The post game in NBA 2K has definitely gotten stale. It's it feels like a lot of the same animations from, say, NBA 2K 13 or 14. So we've been going with basically the same post game since back then. To 2K's credit, though, I really like the post game, especially in NBA 2K17. So it's hard to change something that people like overall, or that people that aren't really complaining about it. But I think overall, now that the 2K's been out for about 20 years, this is going to be the 20th anniversary edition, a lot of things are getting stale, and you guys are noticing like a lot of the issues, the legacy issues, are really starting to piss people off. The legacy issues being things like the body blocks and the body steals, the floaty passes, the post game being basically the same. You know, a lot of which is not a legacy issue, but it's like a stale issue. A lot of people are having issues with those things more and more as time goes on, because they're just getting those same issues every single year, and it wears on us as consumers. The other issue is the new issues that were implemented. Again, I've said this on my other stream. It's the ridiculous skating on the court where the players move like Christ. This game here, this arcade game from 2000, 1999, has better foot planting than NBA 2K18. The skating in NBA 2K18 is ridiculous. I'm surprised more people aren't complaining about it. But the new issues that, like the skating that they introduced, and the issues with the blow-by defense, that was a really stupid goaltend on my part. But the issues with, you know, the blow-by defense, Barkley could shoot threes this year. With the blow-by defense and the transition defense and the help defense, and how those seem to get even worse in, you know, 2K18, and the virtual currency push, I think a lot more people are willing to switch to live than most think. It's not a lock that 2K is going to dominate live for the next few years. I think that this live is going to be the most popular possibly since, you know, Live 10, which, by the way, Live 10 was awesome. I loved Live 10. And I also think that Barkley just goaltended his own shot. I also think that Live will, with a good showing, is going to retain more of the market share for the basketball gaming genre than most people think. I think they're going to keep making progress every year and get new gamers, as long as they don't do what they did in the past, like with Elite 11, and completely try to revamp themselves when something's working. If NBA Live had built off of Live 10's system, the gameplay system, they'd still be up there with 2K. You guys, for you who don't remember, look up gameplay footage of NBA Live 10. I posted a really short one a while ago, just to kind of show people what it looked like. Live 10's gameplay system was awesome. The motion system was good. It felt good. Shots on the move were good. Driving to the basket felt good. It even had signature size ups, which was crazy for 2010. But Live decided to go the direction of completely changing their gameplay and their motion system and all of that stuff, and they did serious damage to their brand. And then taking all that time off also didn't help either. But they seem to be on the right track. And I've said this before, I'm more excited for NBA Live than I am for NBA 2K. These courts back then, by the way, were awesome too. The if you guys see the rocket with the cloud. Wait a second. I'm gonna lose this game. Yeah, but somebody just said, D3, have you checked out Younga on YouTube? He talks about gambling and video games for EA Sports. He talks about them, but only to 2K. One video, and he's bashing Andrew Wilson. He talks about, you want to clarify, so he's talking about gambling in video games for EA Sports, and he talks about them, oh, you mean gambling as far as changing their strategy, like their outlook? See, the difference is and I don't know who he is, and I'd have to check out his videos, but I'm not going to bash. If I'm going to talk about, I think you guys like this. Wait, which one of the following players is not from Detroit, Michigan area? I know Weber is. I'm gonna say Jalen Rose is. I'm gonna say that Grant Hill is not. Yep. So Grant Hill's not from Detroit, Michigan. These trivia things are cool. I don't bash. No, it was Grant Hill. Which it was kind of a trick question because he played for the Pistons for a good portion of his career. The problem with people bashing is sometimes they bash without doing the constructive critique part. So, they'll say, "Oh, well, he's trash," or they'll say they went in the wrong direction, but they won't say why they went in the wrong direction, and they won't be able to constructively critique. I don't bash. I lay out my issues with each game without any bias, and I think that's hard for a lot of people. But I've said, of my critiques with Live, but I also, I'll give them props for where they do well, or where they're, if they're going in the right direction. But I'd have to watch his videos to see what you mean exactly by bashing, because I'm not a fan of bashing. I'm more of a fan of constructive criticism and, laying out possible solutions and stuff like that. But yeah. I'm thinking about putting on the original 2K if you guys want to stick around for a second. It's not going to start. I have it set up where I can just switch videos. So I'm going to... actually, I'm not sure if I can do that with this. Oh yeah, I can. So let me swap discs for a second. Let's see here. We have this game's horrible. ESPN NBA. You guys probably can't see it. ESPN NBA tonight is horrible. All right, so let's put on the original 2K. Hopefully you guys are still with me. Oh no. Where? All right, there we go. Looks like you guys are still with me. So this is the original NBA 2K, and so give you guys kind of an idea of, you know, who those of you who haven't actually seen NBA 2K, the original, which I'm sure some of you have looked it up on YouTube and gameplay footage, but this will give you guys kind of an idea of where they started. I'll even let the intro play. And actually, that's the one thing that doesn't work particularly well with this game. That's working a little bit better. You got Penny with Phoenix there. Jason Williams with the Kings, Christian Laettner, Tim Hardaway, Kevin Garnett. Not sure why they have Matt Geiger posterizing somebody. Not that Matt Geiger was horrible, but I'm just surprised that's in an intro video. Jason Williams was amazing with the Kings, and he's one of my favorite players ever. That Kings team won over 50 games in 2000, 2001, and they were also good in 99, 2000. Penny with the Suns, which a lot of people obviously only remember him from his Orlando days, but he played with Phoenix, and even later on in his career he played with the Knicks. I don't think Brian Grant was that high overall, but we can definitely look. Somebody said 90 overall. So one thing with this game, guys, for this emulator is the sound doesn't work in the game. So you're going to have to just listen to me and watch, which I'm sure you're fine with, at least for a little bit, because it's basically just about viewing the game. But let me see if I can go and look at Brian Grant's overall. Let's see here. He's on Trailblazers. Oh, Blazers B. Brian Grant. It's really creepy. Look at the faces there. It's absolutely creepy. Brian Grant in this game, it doesn't actually say Brian Grant's overall. But I'm sure if I go into a game with the Blazers, we can find out. So that's what I'll do. You can also create players in this game, which is something some of us did back in the day. Alright, so let's go here. Such a classic, nostalgic team select screen. So we'll put the Blazers on the floor because I think we might be able to get Brian Grant's overall. And who else would you guys like to see? Oh, I know, yeah, the Blazers. Blazers almost beat the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals with this team. Sheed blew it, actually, in the fourth quarter. All right, who would you guys like to see the Blazers against in the original NBA 2K? We do have the Vince Carter Raptors. We have the Grant Hill Pistons. We have the Reggie Miller Pacers. We have, let's see here. We have the Kobe Shaq Lakers. We got the Jason Williams, Chris Webber Kings. Stockton and Malone Jazz. Let's see, who could we put the Blazers against? We have Iverson, obviously. You know what? I'll put him against the Kobe and Shaq Lakers. This is, a real matchup that happened, and I mean, look at the ratings and look how lopsided they are, and it kind of gives you an idea of how this stuff I don't think mattered as much to people. If you look at the overall for the Lakers, they're 70%, so they're 70 overall, and no, I know, I think that the that Lakers-Blazers game was suspect as far as the way it was reffed. She'd missed some easy shots, though, in the paint if you actually go back and watch. But, yeah, I agree. Just like the Kings-Lakers series in the 0-2 Western Conference Finals. But if you look, we got the Lakers at 70 overall in the original 2K, and we got the Blazers at 93 overall. I'll actually use the Blazers here. And yeah, as far as player overalls, I'm not 100% sure how this works in this game because it's been a long time, so I didn't see Brian Grant have a designated overall. Let me see. Is it possible? It's very primitive. The presentation is very primitive on this game. Alright, well, we're just going to play because I can't see it, so... A sweeping hook by Arvydas Sabonis. If you guys didn't enjoy that, then I'm sorry. You should. So for anybody who just joined in, this is the original NBA 2K for Sega Dreamcast. Volume doesn't work on this right now, but it's in very good quality, so you guys can kind of get that nostalgia feeling. This game, you guys want to talk about brick wall defense, this game absolutely has it. There's Brian Grant. And of course he missed that. Yeah, ratings might have started. Somebody just said ratings might have started in 2K1, and I think that's probably the case. Which is weird for you to think of a basketball game, especially in NBA 2K, that doesn't have ratings, because there's so much talk about that now in the preview season, and the athletes getting in on it, and all that stuff. Yeah, Detlef Schrempf was on this team, and for you guys who love the classic NBA, you know how good Detlef Schrempf was. And you guys have any idea how good Detlef Schrempf would be in today's NBA? He would be ridiculous. He's tailor-made. Oops. He's tailor-made for this NBA. I'm kind of sucking right now because I'm not used to the buttons, and I'm using the ones that I was just using on NBA Showtime. But they had this view, and I talked about this earlier. They had this view called Cinematic, which was this one, which was really fun to watch the computer play on. And this view is great when it goes to this broadcast. I'd be playing it on this all the time if it could stay that way. Mighty Mouse for free. What's funny about this game is I don't think they necessarily have scanned faces. Maybe some of them are scanned from back then, I'm not sure. But some of the player likenesses are actually pretty good. It's really not bad. Sabonis. No, bad shot. Nice. You're playing 2K2. Are you playing it on PlayStation? Or are you playing it on like an emulator? And yeah, today should be a retro day. A lot of days for me are retro days, especially recently. If you guys saw that, that's one thing that I really liked about this game, and I just remember that they had it in. Watch Sabonis grab this rebound and clear it. Nice, on PlayStation 2. But watch Sabonis grab this board and clear. That is so old school, and they were able to do that back then to clear space. If you guys remember, Kevin Love did that in the playoffs, and they called him, I believe they called him for a technical foul, or a flagrant, I can't remember. But back then, at the time, you could grab rebounds like this and create space, and it was really cool back in, when this game was released. Back when this game was released, that you could clear the boards, and they did that animation because it was actually a big part of rebounding back then. Barkley and Karl Malone always did that, and they'd hit people with elbows, and nobody wanted to go near them when they swung their bows, like Sabonis just did there. Yeah, Barkley and Malone did it every rebound. Another guy that used to do that a lot was you'd see Sheed do it, especially in his Pistons days. He would, with the tough Detroit Pistons 03-04 team, you'd see him grab rebounds, and he'd still be able to get away with that. In the early two. All right, cool. See you, easy, Madden. I'll try to do more of these in the future, but that 03-04 Pistons team was rough, and Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace would clear rebounds by throwing elbows like that. So I'm going to put it back into the 2K view just because I always... Actually, you know what? We can do this for now. The side view. I'm a broadcast person, a broadcast camera person, so for me this is better. Another cool thing about the original 2K, if you guys don't remember, is they had these signature animations that were for certain people. So like Stoudemire and Jason Williams can do this, but not many other people can. So they do the whole bring back and then go up for the layup. Again, for the time, it was cutting edge to have players be able to do that. In the game, it was an authenticity that we just didn't have prior. Yeah, Michael Cage was big time about throwing bows. People don't realize how good some of these big guys were back then. Michael Cage was like 900 rebounds, and he was an enforcer, and you didn't want to take it into Michael Cage. Players like Michael Cage, in my opinion, really don't exist, those rough guys in like the NBA now, and the rebounders just don't seem as good as they used to be. Another guy like that was Irvin Johnson for Seattle, and then also he played for Denver. Those guys, I love those guys. And one of the reasons why players like Kenneth Faried, even though Kenneth Faried is healthy, one of the reasons why Kenneth Faried can't seem to get minutes, or he's now suddenly undervalued, is because it's just not the same anymore. Those guys, those hustle guys, those guys who get physical down underneath, they are not valued the way that they were. Instead, players like Dragon Bender log, like 40 starts in a season or 30 starts in a season, and tall, lanky guy who can't rebound, who's even a poor shot blocker for his height, who couldn't get physical with some of the people probably in this chat, are getting out there, including myself, couldn't even... he's the one getting minutes, but people like Kenneth Faried, who's a better overall basketball player, who can give more, in my opinion, to teams, doesn't even get a look, and doesn't even get to be in a lineup. So for me, it's a shame to see guys like Faried not, get the love that they deserve. So anyways, if anybody new joined, this is the original NBA 2K. Volume doesn't work very well, so there is no volume on it, but you guys can kind of get the gist of, you know, how the game was. Earlier, as the title would suggest, I was playing NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC, which was it's an arcade game similar to NBA Jam. Yeah, a lot of quality power forwards back then. Otis Thorpe. So I'm one of the biggest advocates for Clyde Drexler, and if you know me on Twitter, I've been on kind of, not a Twitter beef, but a Twitter debate with somebody about Clyde Drexler and Ginobili comparison, which makes me want to throw up. But I love Manu, by the way. I love Ginobili, but to say he's on the same level or better than Clyde Drexler, it kind of bothers me. But anyway, you guys probably remember that Drexler got traded to Houston in 94-95 halfway through the season, and part of the package for Drexler was Otis Thorpe, and Otis Thorpe was a key piece to the 93-94 title, and that the Rockets won. So Otis Thorpe and Vernon Maxwell wasn't particularly fond of the trade because Drexler played his position, and he actually quit after in the first round of the playoffs, which he regretted later because they won the title. But Otis Thorpe was a key piece to that championship team, and it created a problem with the locker room when he got traded for Drexler. And he was such a quality player and underrated scorer, and he was an enforcer. And another guy, you know, if you could think of a guy with a comparison to him, who I don't even think was as good as him, was Serge Ibaka with the Thunder. But while Serge Ibaka probably had better timing on blocks, Otis Thorpe was a much more gifted rebounder, and in my opinion, overall tougher and better at finishing around the basket than Ibaka. What's Hunter? I don't know what the NLVC is, to be honest with you. I know what the NLSC is. So to answer your question, I wouldn't be watching it because I'm not sure what it is. Another cool thing they had in this video game that they finally started implementing again in NBA 2K18 was when you go to the free throw line, there's stat overlays, which is really, it helps with the presentation. So I'm actually going to swap back to Showtime, NBA Showtime. So you guys got to see the original NBA 2K, but I want volume. So I'm going to switch back to NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC, play one more game, and then I'll probably sign off. But there, you guys got to see the original NBA 2K for Sega Dreamcast. Let me see if I can swap disc here. Just hold on 1 second, and you guys will just have like a brief screen interruption here. Let me see, swap disk. I'm not sure why that's not. 1 second. All right, guys. I'm gonna. Let me see. Yeah, I know. Vernon Maxwell, though, before I change this, yeah, Vernon Maxwell was a key part of the 93-94. He was clutch, the 93-94 Rockets championship team. But obviously, Clyde was still an upgrade. And Clyde actually in the 95 finals averaged 20 points per game and was a really big part of, I think it was 20 points and like 9 rebounds a game. He was a really big part of that championship. So obviously, you take Clyde Drexler over Vernon Maxwell. There's going to be a brief pause here. And Hunter, I just saw your comment about the NLVC. So obviously I follow Swag EP, and I really like actually talking to him about basketball on Twitter. I might check it out. Prime 76. I haven't followed him on Twitter, but I probably should too. I know that those guys are EA game changers, and they're going to be talking about live and whatnot. So obviously it's something I'd be interested in, so I may check it out. For anybody who just joined, because I saw the count go up, this is NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC, a game released in 1999 by Sega Dreamcast. It had the full NBA on NBC license, and it was released by Midway. And this is an NBA Jam type game, and if you don't know this game and you've never seen this game before, you'd probably be blown away by it, because while it's not one of the more well-known games, it's really smooth graphically. It has the full NBA on NBC license. It has Charles Barkley obviously in the game because he was playing for the Rockets at the time, and this game is really fun. And for you guys who are tuning in who like arcade games, arcade NBA games, see, this presentation is just awesome, and I missed with NBA video games had presentations like this. I definitely recommend picking up this game if possible, if you have a Sega Dreamcast, or if you want to buy the game and then get an emulator and ROM like this is. I'm playing this on my PC. This game is awesome. The audio struggles a little bit right there, but you guys get to see how cool the intro actually is. But yeah, the purpose of this stream, I'm going to play one more game on this. The purpose of this stream was just to relax and watch some retro NBA and to talk basketball and talk basketball video games. So, and you guys get to see one of the cooler arcade games that was ever made. Again, like I said before, one of the ones that's really not as well known. This was one of my favorite arcade games when I was growing up. And I'll do what I did before just for anybody new on, because I noticed that quite a few people have actually jumped on. I'm going to use Houston with Barkley so you guys can see, when Barkley was actually in a video game. So there he is. And I'll put him with Pippen, because this is when Pippen was on the Rockets. And they automatically put me against a team, so it looks like they're going to put me against
the Houston Rockets.
The Spurs. So this is the David Robinson and Tim Duncan Spurs.
Tim Duncan, David Robinson.
And yes, for you new people who joined, the players are absolutely ridiculously jacked in this game. But remember, it's an arcade game that was made in 1999.
This is the matchup everyone's been waiting for. Across the lane with the floating one-hander. Barkley. Whoop! That was one for the highlight reel. Hands off to Duncan.
And I've said this before earlier in the chat. I'm more of a sim head. I'm more of a my league person. I'm more of a realistic NBA action person, whether it be with classic teams or now teams. But these games still hold not only like fond memories for me, but they are great for player versus player, so PvP, but also to play on the same team.
And we gotta see that one again.
If you guys want to know more about this game too, just let me know. This game is a lot of fun.
Duncan.
See, I'd love to play. See, I think games like this would be fun to play online against each other.
Launches. I want to see the replay on that one.
Or even on the same team.
Hands off to Duncan. Boom, baby.
And yes, in this game, just like Jam, you can catch on fire. So I'm one shot away with Barkley of catching on fire.
Barkley.
but I ran out of turbo, and I blew it.
Quick fake. Robinson lights it up for 2.
I think when people think of arcade games, they think of, you know, like 2-on-2 and whatnot, or 3-on-3 or whatever you want. People mostly think of NBA Street or NBA Street Volume 2, or some people even think of like NBA Ballers.
Barkley. There is 1 minute left.
Or NBA Jam, but this game, in my opinion, is a completely hidden gem as far as like arcade games.
Dishes to Duncan. How did he get through?
I'm trying to get Barkley on fire, and he's on fire. So
hands off to Duncan.
No, I'm gonna blow it.
And he gets hit
I
hard.
blew it. That sucks.
Dishes to Pippen. He shoots off the rim. Barkley for 2. Hands off to Duncan. No good. Hands off to Barkley. The wild shot. He missed again. Robinson. Oh, he does
So again, this is probably going to be the last time I'm going to stream. At least this week. I have, and possibly next week, because I'm on vacation from work. So
he is going airborne. Launches his body. Hands it off to Barkley. Magic carpet ride. And suddenly, he is on fire. Dishes to Barkley.
And after this game, I'm probably going to end the stream. So if there's anything else you guys want to talk about, whether it be Live 19, NBA 2K19, classic basketball games, now NBA.
I want to see the replay on that one.
If you guys have questions for me, definitely let me know. I did a whole 2-hour stream yesterday on, my thoughts on NBA Live 19 and NBA 2K19, and that video is saved on my channel if you guys want to see that. And I had some good conversation in the live chat. But for anybody new or anybody that wants to know more about this game or talk about basketball or talk about the NBA, we have a little bit more time.
To Barkley. He loses it. Whoa. Hands off to Barkley. Barkley. Oh, the dejection of the rejection. Finds Barkley. And he swishes it home. Robinson totally faked him out of his shoes. That was all net. Finds Barkley. He'll try it again.
I keep pushing the wrong button.
And he grabs the ball with a powerful dunk. Hands off to Duncan. Dishes to Robinson. Duncan. I think he got a friendly rim on that one. Whoa. Barkley. Wide open for the 3. The clock is ticking. Duncan. That's all night. Barkley. Magic carpet ride. The Spurs lead is 2.
Hey, what's going on, Peaceman?
And that's good for 2.
I didn't know you ever tuned in for anything like this. I did a stream yesterday for a couple hours. And probably a lot of topics that you would want to talk, cover, like art, as far as like the new games and whatnot go. And I'm guessing you've never played this game before, so if you want to know what it is, if you're still there, this is NBA Showtime NBA on NBC, which was released in 1999 by Midway, and it's for the Dreamcast.
The Spurs lead is 2. He lost the ball. This guy is smoking now. It is all tied up. Duncan. Hands off to Robinson. Barkley. Throws it down for 2. It is all tied up. Going up for the dunk. Whoa. Tim Duncan.
I think one of the best parts of these older games is the ability to
Barkley.
just kind of enjoy yourself and not think of all of the other, you know, oh, is this guy playing realistic, or Tim Duncan shouldn't be doing 360 dunks and whatnot. I think that's one of the best things about playing arcade games, you know, or Olajuwon shouldn't be making a three. You can kind of just relax and, you know, enjoy yourself and just focus on trying to win, or, you know, catching somebody on fire and whatnot. And cool piece, that's awesome.
Robinson.
It's nice to see, like, my friends on NLSC, you know, coming on here and
from the
listening and viewing and whatnot.
Yes! Hands off to Robinson.
Jam, no, somebody just asked if Jam ever had the NBC license. I gotta be honest with you, I'm not sure, but the game that I was talking about earlier in this discussion, the NBA Jam that I played for PlayStation 2, and I can't remember the name of it. I don't think it was On Fire Edition. It was another, it had another name. I almost want to say that it had some NBC elements to it, but it's been so long since I played it that I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look it up.
Dishes to Duncan. He'll try it again. Barkley.
David, you said this game brings back memories. Are you one of the few people on here that actually tried this game? That actually played this for the Dreamcast? Because if so, that's cool, because I'm not finding a lot of people that actually have played this game before. Some people don't even know it existed. And what are my top 5 NBA players ever? Allen Iverson, Clyde Drexler, Jason Williams, D. Brown, and I'd say Sean Kemp is right up there as well. Those would be my favorite. So growing up, D. Brown was my favorite team of all time. If you're talking about franchise, I live an hour outside of Boston, so I'm a Boston Celtics fan, and I love the Celtics, and have been following them religiously since I was little. So the Celtics. As far as my favorite individual team, I have a few. The 2000-2001 Kings, because I was a huge Jason Williams fan, like out of this world Jason Williams fan. I really like, and this is going to surprise people, the 96-97 Celtics. Even though they went 15-67, they it was D. Brown, Antoine Walker, Dino Raja, Rick Fox. That's one of my favorite teams of all time.
Barkley.
I like the 01-02 Celtics with Pierce, Walker, Tony Battie, the team that won, that almost made it to the NBA Finals and lost to the Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Barkley.
I love the 91-92 Portland Trailblazers with Clyde Drexler, Jerome Kersey, Buck Williams, Kevin Duckworth, Terry Porter, etc. I love that team and basically all of those late 80s, early 90s Blazers teams. I love the 05-06 Sixers, another team that didn't make the postseason, but they had Chris Webber and Allen Iverson, Andre Iguodala, Kyle Korver, etc.
Dishes to Duncan.
So yeah, if you wanted to know some of my favorite teams, those are some of them.
The rim is still shaking.
No, that's awesome, David. Like I said, I don't know many people who knew this game or played this game, or anybody that's tuned into streams or anything like that. So pretty awesome to see people that have actually played this game. And I think the people that did played it a lot, because it's hard to put this game down if you like arcade games.
We thought this thing was over. Boom, baby.
See if I can hit a 3 at the buzzer to win here with Barkley. No, I got blocked. That sucks.
The San Antonio Spurs have won the game.
Any other questions here? As far as, you know, my opinions on these things, or any topics you want to talk about with, like, basketball games or anything like that? If so, I'll play one more game. Wait, how many NBA championships have the Lakers won in franchise history? So this is back in 1999. So it's definitely 11. The Celtics were at 16 at that point. That's a pretty easy question. Alright, I'm going to jump on and play one more game here and see if you guys want to talk about anything else. These games aren't too long.
This is the NBA on NBC.
Yeah, I did lose against Robinson and Duncan, which I don't feel that bad about, to be completely honest with you. Plus, I've been looking at the chat, which I have on my phone, while I play, so let's see if I can focus a little bit more and get the win. Yes, I am going to probably get NBA 2K19 day one. Jalen Scott, I'm not sure what you just said about the 98 Bulls. This game, unfortunately, this game doesn't have... it was made in 99, so it doesn't have Jordan. Plus, I'm not sure they would have the license for Jordan anyway. But you know what? Let's see. Who am I going to use for this last game? I'm going to use... I could use Reggie Miller if you guys want to see Reggie Miller in a video game. I'll use Miller. So there's Reggie Miller. You guys get to see him in a video game. And I'll pair him with Jalen Rose to start. That's an older Chris Mullin.
The Indiana Pacers go up against the Toronto Raptors.
And you guys are going to see Vince Carter. Here, Toronto Vince Carter. Yeah, I know. I should have used Iverson, David. I chose Miller because people don't get to see Reggie Miller in video games. But
Kevin Willis, Tracy McGrady, Jalen
and actually,
Rose,
I'm not sure
Reggie Miller.
when this game was made. I'm not sure if Vince Carter is on the Raptors. So it looks like you're seeing
Here's
T-Mac
the
on the Raptors.
This is the matchup everyone's been waiting for. Misses. He clears his man out.
I'm gonna obviously pop a lot of threes here with Miller.
Willis takes off from the foul line.
Unbelievable. The Kevin Willis cyberface is actually spot on.
Come on! Willis shoots. It falls through for him.
I know the classic names like Bimbo Coles and whatnot.
Miller.
I hung in the air on that
And
one.
scores!
Miller's three-point rating in this game is obviously high. And for those just joining in, this game is different in the way that ratings matter. So if you're out here trying to shoot threes with Kevin Willis or Akeem Olajuwon or anybody like that, you're probably going to miss them. But if you're jacking them up with Reggie Miller, you're going to hit them at a high clip, which is different than NBA Jam, where it felt like you could hit a three with anybody.
Yes!
Yeah, 99 was the lockout year. And,
From the arc.
it was the year that
McGrady.
in the finals, the
McGrady
50-game season,
from the
where New
three-point
York
line.
made it with an injured Ewing to the finals
Quick
and
release.
played against the Spurs,
McGrady.
and the Spurs won. I always wonder what would have happened, though, if Ewing was healthy and was able to play in the
The
finals.
baby hook. He missed again. This guy is really heating up. Indiana up by 1.
That's a good question, Peace. I'm not sure if they did.
Nothing but the bottom
I
of
know
the net.
Tracy McGrady's here.
The ball is loose. Oh my!
But what I'd like to see is
Indiana up by 1.
which rosters
With
this is
30
based
seconds
off
to
of
go.
exactly, because I'm not
Bad
seeing Vince
decision.
with the Raptors.
McGrady finds Willis. This guy is really heating up. Finds Rose. A long 2. Hands off to McGrady. The ball is deflected. Good.
Oh, Kevin Willis hit that three. Oh, that's ridiculous. Somebody just asked me a question about my Ultimate Roster mod for 2K17. If 2K19 is a good game or live comes out to PC eventually, yes. And my goal of those rosters, as you guys know, and Peaceman not being on this is kind of cool. Because he worked with me at the end of it and helped me out a lot with jerseys and faces and whatnot. And a lot of the art and cheat engine stuff. But
The Raptors' lead is 2.
So yeah, somebody just said, and I'll get back to that in a second. T-Mac was a rookie here in '98, and I think that this game was made in '99, but back then the way it worked is it was based off of, like, if it was made in '99, I believe it was based off of the '97-'98 season. So
he knocks the ball loose.
That would make sense that they have T-Mac in the game.
Miller.
As far as the roster, I like to, you know how there's a lot of fakes on the ends of the benches. What I do with my rosters is I fill those in accurately with the accurate players, and then add new teams if possible. So yes, I do plan on doing that if 2K19 is good, and if Live comes to PC, I'd like to be able to mod in classic teams like we used to be able to with the old Lives. It's cool to see a lot of people on these chats when I do these live streams that use my classic team roster and get a good experience out of it, because
wide open for the 3.
It was a lot of fun creating it.
From long range, and he frees himself.
I'm just going to dunk this with Jalen Rose. He laid it up, which is lame. I know that Peaceman Knott, who's in this chat and watching this video, would be on board if, I went with 2K19 as long as it didn't impact his school. So I know that I'd have some help, and that definitely helps. Knock this down, Miller.
Clutch.
Nope, not clutch.
The last shot. No!
But yeah, I'm guessing Vince Carter's not in the game because he didn't start for the Raptors here. Peace, I'm curious. I know you've probably never played this game before, and if you're still on this on the live chat, tell me what you think of this game. And if you like arcade games like this, I definitely recommend it.
Going airborne. That was one for the highlight reel. Hands off to Miller. Miller. He couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. He'll try it again. Hands off to McGrady. McGrady.
So somebody just said that they love my roster mod, but they wish they had rookie year Iverson.
Way above the rim.
I almost put them in. I think I talked with Peace about that or somebody else.
And he catches it is all tied up.
The reason I didn't put them in is because
we gotta see that one again.
I had to make a choice, and I chose the 05-06 team with Weber because they were I don't want to say more relevant, but that Sixers team with Iverson, the rookie one, only won about 20 games. And I agree with having him in the game would be good, but my options were very limited as far as putting in new teams because of the accessory colors and whatnot. So
wide open for the 3.
How many players will I create, Hunter and Live 19? If Live 19 came to PC late, I would do a ton of it. And I'd mod the crap out of that game. And I think Peaceman Knott would, and other people who worked on the Ultimate Classic Teams roster would. But with 2K19, I'll be adding a lot if I like the game, but I'm not optimistic.
Dishes to McGrady. McGrady. And he grabs the ball.
Yeah, Peace. I know you probably, even if you don't play games like this normally, it's definitely fun to wind down with games like this and just be able to enjoy the game as opposed to like picking it apart.
Willis, and he took the ball strong to the hole. Miller from long range.
I just goaltended my own shot. I should be up by 5.
No.
That sucks. Well, let's see if I can win this one. It'd be a good way to end this this stream.
Hands off to Miller. Miller finds Mullen.
Mullen for 3. Actually, that's probably a 2. Yeah, it's a 2.
McGrady. Whoa. Boom.
Of course,
Shakalaka.
blocking T-Mac and
The
using
Pacers
Miller and
lead is
Mullen.
2.
I'm not going to be getting much blocks at this
Awesome
point.
defense. He is really heating up. It is all tied up. Mullen. Wide open for the 3.
There it is.
To Willis. Dishes to Miller. Miller. Terrible shot. And he frees himself. Launches. Let's see that one again.
Yeah,
And
right now
Miller.
it's going to be tough for me to get any stops
Mullen.
because of the players I'm using. And like I said, it's different in this
McGrady.
game because attributes matter, and because
McGrady.
Reggie Miller and Chris Mullen aren't good shot blockers, I'm not able to really stop anything at the rim.
Indiana
So I'm using
up by
shooting.
1.
I'm sacrificing my defense
Again
for
with the
shooting.
shot.
But so far it's working because I'm up.
McGrady fires it from long range.
And Willis hitting that,
Indiana
though, really pisses
up
me
by
off.
1. The ball is loose.
Whoop.
Finds Miller. Oh, he is wide open.
All right, up by 2.
The ball is loose. Miller with the runner.
Stupid.
He pokes it away.
All right, one more
guy
shot
is
and Mullen's on
smoking now.
fire. That would be amazing.
McGrady. Nobody can
crap.
stop him. Miller. A beautiful finesse shot. Anything can happen.
All right, up by 3.
Wide
No.
open for the 3.
I can't believe T-Mac just missed that.
Wide open for the 3.
Oh, that's icing. I
And
think
it's
I want it.
all starting to unravel now. Smooth move. It is.
All right, there we go.
No good. The Indiana Pacers have defeated.
And yeah, I agree. The
Toronto
Live 20 is probably
Raptors.
going to come to PC on for 2020. So Live 2020, and I think that they're going to make it a big splash. It's going to be a big deal when it does come to PC, and I think part of it also is because they want to see how good Madden does on PC. So I hope Madden does really well on PC, so they release Live 20 on Origin. And like I said, and Peace is probably on the same side. We definitely will mod Live big time. Let's see. The team once known as the Syracuse Nationals now is the Philadelphia. That's true. But all right, I'm going to sign off here in a minute. Does anybody else have anything else they want to ask or say? This has actually been a lot of fun, to be honest with you, doing this over the last couple days. I don't normally stream, but I have all the tools that I need, and people said that they like the video quality in the conversation, so this has been pretty fun. I won't be able to do this too often, but it's pretty cool to have my NLSC friends and then some other random people jump in. You know, gained about 6 or 7 subscribers after my last stream, which was the one that I did yesterday. And yeah, I need a fresh breath of air from 2K2. I think the gameplay has kind of become exhausting. I'd like a change. And
He shoots.
I think that a lot of people are becoming a little exhausted with 2K, and even some of the people and quote-unquote fanboys who stand up for the game all the time, I see those people also complaining about the game and complaining about, you know, legacy issues and stuff like that. So there's a lot of support, unguided support for 2K, which actually hurts the product. If you guys, and you guys probably agree with that, a lot of people who, you know, they don't talk about the issues with the game. They don't.
He pokes it away.
They don't. They basically blindly support it, or they're super casual players who don't particularly care that the game is loaded with bugs or issues or anything like that. So I definitely need I definitely would like Live to make a splash, because I need a new new, basically gameplay direction to enjoy. And yeah, Shamrock Shack. I know this game, by the way, if you guys, and I'm gonna say this again, if you guys want a good arcade game experience, and including a retro experience, but a good arcade game experience, and you didn't like NBA Playgrounds or NBA Jam is a little bit too, even, it's not to your liking, I definitely recommend this game. For those who have watched this stream, I've played a bunch of games on it. But they have the full NBA on NBC license. It's made by Midway Games, who made NFL Blitz, and it's called NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC. So I really like this game. I prefer this game, actually, over NBA Jam. And I prefer some elements, actually, over like NBA Street, even though NBA Street is a legendary game. But yeah, NBA Live 19, I definitely want it to make a splash. I want it to the real player motion looks promising. The graphical improvements help, but it's all about that on-court action, that on-court gameplay. I want to play a game where the defense doesn't just let me run by it. I want to play a game where help defense actually matters and transition defense reacts the way that it's supposed to, or that it's, hopefully it's even at least a challenge. So, Shamrock Shack says, did you have to make adjustments to make it run? So, for this one, I'm using the Null DC emulator, NULLDC, and you can download that. It's a couple different places. MU Paradise has it, and then a couple other places have it. But the best thing about this emulator that I'm using right here is it doesn't require a BIOS download. So you can just download the emulator, download the game, and start playing. So this should also run, I believe, on older computers. I don't see why it wouldn't.
From way outside.
And yeah, the demo for Live Piece is on August 24th. So that's coming right up, and I'm pretty pumped for it, for NBA Live 19. But yeah, about this game, this game should run on any computer. Legally, you need to have the game disc in order to use it, which I do have NBA Showtime, the game disc, so I'm not worried about it, which makes you feel good about downloading the ROM. I have a lot of classic games. For those of you who know me on the NLSC know that I own a lot of the classic video games.
The ball is
MU Paradise is dead for ROMs, but you can still download emulators, Lorenzo.
Puts it back up. Getting pumping.
But yeah, so this game should run on your system, so if you guys are interested in it, definitely recommend it. Another good place other than MU Paradise, Lorenzo, if you want to get emulators and ROMs, it's called doperoms.com. That's another good one. But they really crack down on the downloading of these games, because if you don't own the original game, it is piracy, and these companies still want to make money. So the MU Paradise had to release a disclaimer stating that they couldn't.
From downtown.
Had to release a disclaimer basically stating that they couldn't release the BIOS or the ROMs anymore. Yeah, the Live 03 actually doesn't work on my PC at the moment, even though I'm running Windows 7, so I have to find a way to configure that to make it work. For some reason it doesn't work. Another good place too, there's other sites that do emulators like this, and ROMs that are still up. One of them is Edge Emulation, but downloading for some reason is really tough, as far as, like, I don't know if it's where the way the website is constructed or whatever, but if you try to make it download something, it will take 3 or 4 times as long as downloading a ROM off of another site. So, Peace, if you're still on this and you haven't seen this intro, I know you would appreciate it as a fan of retro, but this is one of my favorite intros in video game history. And I'm not sure what you said, Hunter, as far as what you mean that you said how good is Reggie Miller. with Indiana from this year. If you're asking how good he was in this season, I think he averaged about 17 or 18 points per game, and he was good as far as what this is based off, whether it's 97, 98, or 98, 99. In real life, how good Indiana. Yeah, if Reggie Miller was in Indiana right now, talk about somebody who would fit in perfectly with today's NBA. Reggie would be an all-star and averaging 20-plus a game, and he would actually play off Victor Oladipo perfectly. So if you look at this year's Indiana team and the way it's constructed and the way they do floor spacing and whatnot, Reggie Miller would be phenomenal in today's NBA. Peace says, the Frosty editor devs have a Discord server about all the games to use Frostbite Engine. Hey, Peace, I have a question for you, and you might know this. On Origin, I definitely think that people want to mod Madden, and obviously it doesn't support mods technically, but do you think that Madden 19
that guy just took
is
a shot. 4-3.
going to be moddable? I looked at it, and I don't see that anybody's creating mods yet, but I'm thinking that maybe
He shoots.
if Madden 19 is moddable, it will give us hope that NBA Live 20, or which I'm not expecting to happen, but Live 19 in January, which I don't think it's going to happen.
With the
But if
floater.
Live comes to PC, that it will be moddable.
4-3. Twisting and turning.
I've looked at the files for Madden 19 to see if it was moddable, and it's like it's archives, kind of like how NBA 2K 17 and 16 and 18 are.
Launches. Let's see that one again. And here he comes.
Yeah, I'm not exactly familiar with what a Discord server is technically, so.
He launches. That was a cheap shot.
And actually, you know, these camera views that we're seeing in this game right now, I'm not sure if you can achieve those. I don't know if there's a button to change the camera view, but it would be kind of cool to try the game in different camera views. Oh, okay, the Frosty editor devs. I wasn't sure exactly what you were
And now he spins right by him.
talking
From
about.
the baseline.
So obviously XSplit Gamecaster works pretty well for this. Again, I don't stream that often, so I've been experimenting with different things. So a couple people have said that they like the quality of this video, that it's smooth and it's coming out good. So when I do Dreamcast games, when I broadcast Dreamcast games, and maybe even some other games, maybe when 2K19 and comes out and whatnot, I may use XSplit because it seems to be working pretty well. I'm going to wait for Peaceman not to respond to what the question that I just had, and then I'm probably going to get out of here because I've been streaming for a couple hours now, I believe. Oh, okay. Actually, I remember you said that. Yeah, you're talking about the Discord thing. I think you or somebody else mentioned to Andrew that you thought that would be a good idea for NLSC to have like a chat thing. By the way, I do think that would be a really good idea. It would make it a lot easier. It'd probably make me visit the NLSC more if they had a thing where we were able to chat.
Let's see that one again.
But yeah, the one thing that I noticed that was cool about Madden 19, and it'd be cool for live when it comes out, is within Origin they have the broadcast option, and I believe also like the friends list and a chat option. So it'd be cool if they had that for live.
Going airborne.
Early on, I was broadcasting.
Lays it up.
Oh yeah, hey Swaggy Pelino. I did play a little bit of NBA 2K on here, the
4-3.
original one. It's about halfway through this video probably, or about 3/4 of the way. But I put this
4-3.
game back on, and if you're not familiar with this game, this is NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC,
From the arc.
made by Midway, which is one of my favorite arcade games
He shoots.
of all time, and I prefer this game actually over NBA Jam. It's made by the
Quick
same
fake.
people who made
With the floater.
NFL Blitz.
Comes away with the board.
And this game is
From
really
short
fun.
range.
And I recommend it to anybody who liked NFL Blitz or likes arcade basketball
Oh, he
games
is
like
wide
NBA
open.
Playgrounds or any other games like that.
And now he spins right by
You know,
him.
Barkley and Reggie Miller are in the game
Going
and
up for the
whatnot.
dunk.
And the gameplay is awesome, and they have the full NBA on NBC license. So definitely recommend this one. I was playing the original NBA 2K a little bit earlier, but I didn't really... It's not as fun without sound, and the sound doesn't work very well. But I will, you know what? I'll put that on just for one more second, just so people can see it, and then I'm going to log off. I just got to swap the disc here. One more time for anybody who just joined. Here is the original NBA 2K, first one ever made, and people said that they liked the quality in video. So for those just joining in, Swaggy P, if you're still on here, you can get a quick look at the original NBA 2K. And I was pretty happy that I got this to work because I was having issues with it before. You got Tim Hardaway, Penny Hardaway, Kobe, Kevin Garnett, and you got Matt Geiger posterizing somebody in second here, which really shouldn't be on here. There he is. Unless he got blocked, it happened so fast I couldn't see it. This is serious nostalgia for a lot of us. Everything from the graphics to the players to the gameplay. So I'll play this for a couple minutes and I'll probably sign off. But yeah, peace. I'm not sure if Matt... it looks like the files, if you... I don't know if you own Madden, but... If you look at the files for Madden, it looks like they're very similar to 2K as far as their archive files. So if somebody can, you know, break into those archive files, it would be a big... it would be a big deal. And it would probably pave the way for some live 20 modding if it comes to PC. So how nostalgic do you feel seeing that NBA 2K intro? How awesome is that? The original NBA 2K. So again, within the game, the sound is off. So you guys are going to be able to see the gameplay at least. Because the sound's kind of buggy for the emulator, but do a different matchup than I did earlier in the video really quick. How about we'll put Iverson out there because he's the cover athlete, and we'll put let me see. Peace. I don't mod it, but I'm curious. Is Pro Evolution Soccer, and there are mods out there for that game? I know you're a soccer guy too, so put him against. Let's see. We'll go against Grant Hill. How about that? Yeah, I know, Swaggy. The thing is, with this is people don't realize how people who are newer into games don't realize how different this game was than NBA Live. 2000 and in the NBA Live games that came before. It really was. If you look at the graphics, it was absolutely more. The graphics overall were just smoother. The gameplay was just completely different. I mean, look at the taking free throws. I'm using Iverson here, but people don't realize. Oh my God, I haven't done this in so long. People don't realize how new this game felt, and I almost feel like that's what's going on with Live right now, where people are sick of some of the 2K gameplay direction and the legacy issues and all the issues. They're looking for that new. A lot of people are looking for that new gameplay experience. Peace and I were just talking about how 2K's gotten a little bit stale, and we're looking for a new direction. And just like this game was a new feel for basketball gamers, and we loved it instantly. I think Live has a chance here to make some noise because people are really ready for a new direction and something that feels different. So this game does a little bit. It has a few different dribble moves, and it has. It's very primitive as far as like what you can do, and it has a post-up button, which is nice, but what can you expect from a game that's almost 20 years old? You see, there's brick wall defense in this game. If you can't just like run by somebody. Yeah, product fatigue, exactly. I think that's what I was trying to get at. Definitely product fatigue right now with 2K, and I think that Live sees it. Like, if you look at the way they approached Live 18 and what they're doing right now with Live 19, Live 19, you're seeing that they're ramping it up. They're ramping up their graphics, they're ramping up the gameplay, they're implementing new motion systems, they're giving it more content and unique content. Right now, what they're doing is they're seeing that 2K is vulnerable and they're ready to pounce. And they see that the consumers have that product fatigue. And the bottom line is that I don't think there's ever been a time, especially with the virtual currency grab and whatnot, and how people were not completely fond with the direction with the career mode in 2K. I don't think there's ever been a better time for NBA Live to make some noise, and I think that they will. I think they're going to make noise, and I'm seeing a lot of people, who are enjoying the real player motion system in Madden, and a lot of people are seeing the new screenshots and seeing that early gameplay video footage. I'm seeing people that are even die-hard 2K fans say, you know what? I've never liked Live. I haven't liked Live, or I haven't liked Live in a long time. But this looks really good, and they're taking the necessary notes on what Live is doing, and I think the Live demo is going to be so much more popular this year than it was last year. And if they can make a good first impression with the demo, their sales are going to go way up. And they're not going to beat 2K in sales this year, but it's all about cutting into it. It's all about cutting into that market share, and I don't think that they can screw this up unless they, stop being innovative and they stop the push. If they continue this push and continue improving, and they fix that first impression that they had with the Live 18 demo, then they're going to be able to really cut into that market share, and more people are going to buy. So if you guys see, I'm kind of getting more comfortable in the game, even though it's a little bit older, and I'm able to do a lot more right now. I'm more of a broadcast camera player, so this is a little bit uncomfortable for me playing on 2K cam, but I'm definitely, I'm obviously mostly using Iverson, but getting a little bit more comfortable. I'll use George Lynch here and throw it down. This game is still fun. This game, after all of these years, is still a good time. And that shows that while some of the aspects of it are a little outdated, that this game still holds up well today. And that's crazy. I'll put it on cinematic for a second, and then I'm going to sign off here in a minute. Swaggy P says they will never beat them in sales. EA is not even on the same amount of platforms in comparison. Yeah, I think that I don't know if it's like a never beat them. I think it's more of a don't try to beat them right now. I know that sounds crazy, but don't try to overdo it, and don't try to do too much and actually go backwards. It's continue with the baby steps and continue with the cutting in ever so slightly at the market share, and eventually they could get there. Now, will it take a few years? Probably, or a major slip up by 2K? Yes. But I think what's going to happen is stay the course, continue to cut in, and you may, and maybe one day they'll be able to gain back the most of the market share for basketball games. In the arcade space, the only one really competing right now is NBA Playgrounds, and that is not good for the arcade base, because back when we had NBA Street and NBA Ballers and NBA Jam and all of those players competing, not only did we have more players in the game competing, but not only did we have more choices, but we also had more competition, so we got better games. Like you saw that NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC, that game was phenomenal, but it was merely a blip on the radar as far as arcade games, because there were so many other good arcade games coming out at the time. So I miss competition in the basketball gaming space, whether it be NBA simulation, or games marketed as simulation, or arcade. So again, you guys are seeing the original NBA 2K. I switched gears from NBA Showtime to put this on. Presentation is still nice. Again, this camera view isn't ideal, but it's one of my favorite ones. It's the cinematic camera. That was actually a decent crossover that I just pulled off in the original NBA 2K. This is with Eric Snow. Not bad. Not bad for back then. And it actually got me by him. Yeah, competition is definitely important, and it's not. It's really sad when you think about it, because I think Peace, Swaggy, and whoever else is on here would agree that if we were making a video game, we scratch our head at some of the lazy aspects of developers, of what they do, like how do they release games with these recycled things, or how do they release games with modes that are incomplete, or how do they release games with new gameplay issues, or how did they not catch that? And sometimes I think that it's part of the problem is the teams may be too big and they're not able to adequately, take in. I'm trying to word this the right way. There's too many people. There's not enough people focused on the right things. I guess I could put, the teams are too big, the game itself is too big, and whatnot, and ideas by people like me and Peace and whatnot, that things that make us scratch our heads, they get overlooked because the teams are so big and the marketing is so big and whatnot. It's hard to explain exactly what I'm trying to say. My problem is that they release games with so many issues, but they market the game like it doesn't have them. And that will always be there, but the number of issues that have been in 2K have been startling, especially in like 2K18. 2K17 definitely had its fair share of issues too. It was actually a nice block too. But if you remember back when this game came out, they had NBA in the Zone, they had NBA Shootout, they had NBA ESPN NBA Tonight, they had oh my God, they had so many. There were so many basketball games. They had college basketball games out. There was NBA Live 2000. There was this game. There was so much competition, and yes, that did produce some games that were just not that good. Like I didn't enjoy the Shootout series much, but at the same time, there was more competition and more choices for us consumers. All right, guys. So I'm going to end this stream. Thank you all for joining. I had some good talk and good chat, and I'll try to do this a little bit more often. This is actually a lot of fun. We'll hopefully end it with an Iverson make. Nope, didn't make it. If you guys obviously just joined in, definitely this is going to be obviously saved to my channel, so follow the you can watch the conversation and the gameplay and whatnot in its entirety. Oh, there it is. There's the signature for one of the layup things they had in this game for back then. I got stuffed, but yeah, the legacy issues, Swaggy P. That's the thing. It's the legacy issues, and then the creating more issues with the new motion system, with the skating and the blow-bys and the help defense, transition defense being even worse and whatnot. That's what frustrates us consumers. But all right, I'll talk to you guys another time, and thanks for joining in.